In this podcast, we cover Boro's victory at Manchester United. We give our praise and place nominations. We return to Shithouse Island with a few nominations. And we look ahead to Boro's trip to QPR. And of course, we answer your podcast questions. This is the Boro Breakdown Podcast. And this is our Boro Matchday Chatter in a pod.
Wants support. Curtis Fleming is there on the edge of the area. Fleming for Craig Hignett. Hit it, Higgy. Higgy hits the treble!
Ravanelli coming alive again. Janino wants the ball played to him. Ravanelli spots out Emerson!
Hello and welcome to the Boro Breakdown Podcast with Johnny, Dana and Tom. We are the Boro podcast that gives you all the Boro Matchday Chatter in a podcast. And well, history repeated itself with Boro causing an upset at Old Trafford by winning 8-7 on penalties against Manchester United. The win takes Boro into the fifth round of the FA Cup, which they play Antonio Conte's Tottenham Hotspur. Guys, what a night at Manchester United. You guys both went. Tell me how you're feeling in as many words as you want. Dana, do you want to go first?
Yeah, just so happy and so proud of the team because we went through it in that game. We went through it throughout the entirety of it. We were under the cosh. And to be honest, I wasn't expecting much from the match. Obviously, going there and being a part of the travelling contingent of Boro fans. I mean, there was definitely more than 9,500 in there. There's no doubt about it. There was people in the home end as well. And I wasn't expecting much. I kind of had the perspective of the result, it can kind of be whatever it wants to be. A win would have been a bonus. But as long as I left Old Trafford feeling proud of my football club, that was enough for me. And I tell you what, I was proud and then some. It was an unbelievable night. I can't believe that it happened back in 2015. So the fact that it happened again is just something very, very special. And yeah, absolutely. Just still on cloud nine, to be honest. I've had probably about 8 hours sleep in total since Friday. I was just, you know, that Chris Hughes meme on Love Island where he's in the bed just staring up into the ceiling. That was me. That was me on Friday because I was just, oh my God, I just sat there processing it. Didn't go to sleep until 6 a.m. It was mad. It was just unbelievable. And what a team. What a team we have. This team is bloody brilliant.
Tom, you've still been celebrating out in Redcar last night, David Lee's hometown. I mean, less said the better about the night out in Redcar, but how are you feeling in terms of Boro's performance?
Just still absolutely buzzing. You know, it was kind of still like the celebration from Friday rolled into yesterday. Obviously out for a different reason. It was being my birthday, but it still kind of felt just mint being out to celebrate. I was at Redcar with Man United fan as well, which made it even better. But but yeah, I mean the match just. I didn't go in 2015, was it? When we last won on penalties. So I kind of felt like I'd missed out then. And I was kind of similar to Dana in that I was like, you know, as long as we give a good performance, a good account of ourselves, you know, it's going to be mint being part of that atmosphere in the stadium and just kind of really enjoy it. And then if we win, obviously it'd be even better, which we ended up doing, you know. As soon as that penalty got skied over the bar, I think it just limbs everywhere. I ended up giving someone a piggyback because someone just jumped on me back and started cheering.
Rhythm is a dancer, Anthony Alanga. Ball is still up in the air. I tell you, this is only water in this cup.
That could be on like now 187, whatever it's on now. That discs. Rhythm is a langer.
Get it sold now in Tesco's.
10% off with Dana 10.
Just summing up that whole game. By the way, 2 words: Mintman.
Mintman. Well, to be fair, I mean, I'm with you, Tom. Like I had to go the 2015 season when we did win, and so I felt like I'd completed it. So I was like, oh, we can't do it again, surely. And after that first 20 minutes, and I know we'll come on to it in a second, but I just thought, I tell you what, I'm glad I didn't go to Man U when I'm watching it here. But then obviously the scenes, of course, was fantastic. But what does the night in victory mean to you both? Because it was jubilation across T sides, and of course in Manchester when you were both there. But what does that victory mean to you both? Go on, Tom. Who was to go first?
To me, to you. I was just going to say about what I mentioned on the podcast last week about the last time that me and my dad were able to get to an away game together. It was actually Old Trafford in the League Cup, and we beat Man United on penalties. So it was almost a full circle moment to basically be a part of the same sort of occasion, albeit in the FA Cup. It was brilliant. I couldn't have really imagined it any better, to be honest. And yeah, when Ronaldo missed that penalty, I thought, well, at least we've got something to celebrate. Because I agree with you, Tom, Johnny. I thought that it was going to be a cricket score, to be honest. They were all over us, and we were lucky to get into half time 1-0 down. But I was like, yeah, as long as I've got that to celebrate. I mean, I don't know why he was giving daggers to the penalty spot, because it was just a shit penalty, and he had an awful game, and I loved every minute of it. Every minute of it. And I think the Boro fans did as well.
Tom?
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely loved Ronaldo having such a poor game as well. Thinking back to growing up when we were in the Premier League, the amount of times he was like diving and stuff against us, clearing Schwartz, doing the high jump and getting penalties and stuff like that. To have the worst game I've seen him have for United and it come against us at Old Trafford was brilliant. But on personal level, what that win kind of means to me is that like I've completed Old Trafford now, seen us win there, because the last time, I think I mentioned it on the last pod, I went 20 years ago in 2002 when we played Arsenal. Seen us lose 1-0 there, even though I did watch Dean Windass clatter Vieira, so that was kind of a win. But and I think it's something you tweeted on Friday. It is kind of like growing in my mind now as well, where it's like something special's happening now, which if feels weird considering when you look at it, how short a time Wilder's actually been here, but what he's managed to create in that time and the feel good factor around the club, the belief's starting to grow now.
It really, really is. And just to add another couple of layers to that as well, we are seeing history repeat itself quite a lot, because when the last time we got promoted, of course, we won in Manchester on penalties, the late winner against Reading, the clean sheet records. Something's starting to happen again, isn't it, Dan? Something special is coming, isn't it?
Yeah,
Feels
100%.
like that way. Feels that way.
Yeah, it does. I think, honestly, Chris Wilder is the best thing that's happened to this football club in years. I mean, he is just such a good manager, and I mean the spirit of this team is brilliant. I just absolutely love this team, the resilience, the belief, the fearlessness. You can see it on the pitch, and we're seeing it week in, week out, and it does feel like something special is happening. I think there's a big connection between the fans and the players. The fans are resonating with the players now. I mean, you've got Matt Crooks there, who's just an absolute breath of fresh air. So good to have him be a part of our football club. You've got academy lads in there as well, like Fry and Tav and Nathan Wood belting out Boro chants at the end. It does feel like something very, very special is happening, and I just love it. I absolutely love it. Being a part of this moment is so valuable as a fan, and I'm enjoying every minute of it at the moment. So yeah, Chris Wilder is bloody brilliant. This team is bloody brilliant, and yeah, something special is happening at this club, I think.
Yeah, and to be fair, I think even if we fell off a cliff, I think to the end of the season, I feel like next season could just be just as special. I feel like if we've got things moving again. But let's chat about the game then, because when we look at the lineups in the squads, Manchester United side, and thanks to Jake for tweeting this out, he says the squads were £520 million for Manchester United versus 19.4 million of Middlesbrough. And of course, Manchester United had Cristiano Ronaldo, Sancho, Rashford, Fernandes, Varane, players that have won so much in the career so far. I mean, look at Ronaldo and Varane. Just to what they've done in their careers is absolutely insane. They've also got England internationals with Rashford and Sancho, and then when you look at Harry Maguire, England captain as well, Luke Shaw, who gave us great moments in the summer too. That squad probably is Manchester United's best 11. But in the early stages, Danny, you've probably alluded to it already. It could have been about 5-0 in the first 30 minutes, but it didn't happen. But how would you assess the performance against Manchester United?
Yeah, the first half in particular was a big struggle because we kind of thought that Boro wouldn't be overawed by the occasion, but I think nerves definitely played a part in that first half. And I think their quality, obviously, Manchester United is far, far superior to ours, stating the obvious there, but it showed because they were probably about 1 or 2 yards quicker than us. We were doing well to recover the ball at times, but it just wouldn't stick, and they were pressing us quite aggressively at the build-up. So whenever we were trying to build it out from the back, I mean, we mixed it up. We did go short sometimes, but I think for the most part we went long, and it was probably forced because maybe a little bit of nerves where I didn't quite want to play in the first half because of that. But it just wouldn't stick for Balogun and Spara up front. And as I said, they were probably just a little bit quicker than us, in fact, quite a bit quicker than us. And it made it a really difficult first half. But as you said, half time, I said to my dad, it's probably a good thing that it's only 1-0 here because they could have, I mean, it should have been more. They had a goal disallowed. They hit the crossbar. They were the dominant side. And when Sancho scored, it wasn't so much of a surprise. Obviously, Ronaldo missed the penalty as well. And it was difficult, but we rode through it. And I think with confidence, we grew into the game. And in the second half, I think we saw that confidence. We were a lot more fearless with the ball and bold with the ball. Of course, we still didn't have the majority of possession, but we dug in. And that's exactly what we needed in that game. And it really, it got us through.
It did. And Tom, United had 30 shots to Boro's 6, an XG of 4-1. Another day, like we were saying there, it could have been a cricket score, but why were United able to create so many chances in that first half? It's something we haven't seen against the Boro team at all.
I thought they were so quick. Like you really saw the quality. It was one-touch football. You know, if it wasn't against us, it would have been great to watch, kind of like as a neutral. And you know, I think that's probably the best I've seen United play this season. You know, this is bearing in mind I only renewed Sky Sports when they were getting battered off Liverpool at half time, just so I could watch them watch them implode even further. So it's some turnaround since then. But yeah, it seemed like, you know, like in the Matrix or something, where like someone's going in really, really fast motion, someone's just going normal speed. That's what it seemed like in the first half, and they just seemed to just be able to kind of like run past us and kind of work past us at will with some of the one-touch football. But thankfully, I thought we defended well in kind of keeping them more towards the outside of the box, or, you know, holding our line well when Rashford was offside, etc. So I think the defence deserve credit. I mean, for both halves really, but you know, I think with the amount of chances they have, it just shows the quality in that team.
Oh, absolutely. And Dana, with that, United seemed to be using that diagonal ball. I think Pogba and Fernandez's passing was sensational in that first half. They were really getting the diagonal ball into the half space, and you could see the inverted runs from Sancho and Rashford to try and get in behind. Is that a potential weakness in maybe in a 3-4 in a 3-5-2 formation that Boro tend to play in?
Yeah, because you've got the spacing behind the wing backs, don't you? And to be fair, we played with pretty much a back five at points because they were pushing us so far back. Well, they were pushing Isaiah Jones and Neil Taylor so far back that it meant it was really difficult for us to kind of get out. But yeah, it probably could be a potential weakness. But then I think you definitely have to understand the context of the game and the quality of opponent. And I mean, Man United have Sancho and Rashford on either side. It was always going to be a difficult afternoon or evening for us. And they were, to be fair, I mean, their diagonal balls were fantastic. I would expect that from them, though, in fairness. And it was difficult for us because of that. But I think we held our own quite well. We rode our luck. Whether or not it's going to be a weakness for Boro going forward, it remains to be seen. If QPR hit us with that tactic, then it might be a potential weakness for us. But I wouldn't really expect it, because I definitely expect the quality to be definitely not so much of a gap. And that's not me saying that Boro are crap or anything like that. It's just that Man United are obviously the quality that they had. I completely agree with you, Johnny, that it's their best team that Ranić could have put out. So yeah, it was a problem for us. But then in the second half, I thought they really slowed down. And the first half, they were fantastic. The second half, I think Pogba tired, and I think that was probably key for Boro.
Yeah, there is absolute levels to this game. Like, there's just so many layers of quality, and when you were seeing like the inch perfect passes, and it was just very crisp, and the technical ability of some of the players was nice to watch. But also it was good to see how Boro fared up against them, and especially in the second half, Tom, we looked a lot more composed. We were creating chances. Obviously, Crooks. Then we did score the goal thanks to maybe a hand of Watmore and Crooks as well. We looked a lot more composed. And what was the difference? Because first half it was a little bit, oof, and then the second half we seemed like to find ourselves again.
Yeah, I think Dana summed it up earlier where she said, we did look a bit nervy in the first half and possibly got a little bit overawed by the occasion. But it did seem like a complete kind of change in motivation when we came back out. It kind of seemed like, right, we've got nothing to lose here, so let's go for it. And I thought it was obvious from kickoff in the second half that it was a different team that had come out, and we were ready to at least give it everything to try and get a goal. I thought I got a text off my mate at half time saying like this is going to end 1-1, and I was like, I don't know.
You got how could you get any service? You're not going to get anything.
It was an actual text. It wasn't iMessage.
Yeah.
To do it through that way. But I think my response was, "How did you get service?" Like, but yeah, he said it was going to finish 1-1, and I was like, I don't know, like, because I can see us scoring, but I can see them scoring again at the moment, and also they didn't look the same in the second half, so they might have had a Neil Warnock team talk at half time where they just came out not bothered, but yeah, it just kind of seemed like total kind of changes in mentality in the second half, and I think that played a pretty big factor into it.
What my sister mentioned as well, she was watching the match, she said the Man United team is just a bunch of egos, and I do think they are. They're not. I don't think they're a team, whereas Boro are a team, and we dug in for each other. And Paddy McNair said it after the game that with every chance they missed, it gave us confidence to just continue and kind of ride it out, and that's exactly what we did. And yeah, I mean, how Bruno Fernandes didn't score from pretty much an open goal is unbelievable. We might have to sign him up for that because Boro, of course, are fairly prone at doing that. But yeah, we grew in confidence. I think that we showed our team value, and Man United didn't.
That miss was proper Thomas Muller against England in the Euros vibes, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, good shout. Yeah.
I was going to say though as well, like I've watched the highlights back so many times since Friday. Somehow managed to fit it into the time where I have actually been awake, but. You can see it in the lineups for the penalties. Like they're all stood on the halfway line. Boro all smiling and kind of all talking to each other, really. And then you look at United and they're all like proper stone faced and like they don't want to be there. I think what you just said there about like Boro actually being a team, like that was evident in that. I think.
Yeah, they didn't want to deal with it, did they? They didn't want to deal with the. Boro coming at them at times. We definitely did grow in it in the second half. We definitely had more attacks, and then being in the away end, the fans I think we're a little bit nervous in the first half because we expected more goals from Man United. But then in the second, we had a few attacks, and then that really got the fans behind the players. And yeah, Man United just didn't want it.
It really does show that like culture and togetherness really plays such a big part in football, and it's something that fans don't really see. Of course, it's more behind the scenes, but I think it's all down to the management and the culture being set at the top from Kieran Scott as well, and it's starting to trickle down really well now across the whole squad. And there's that togetherness there. It helps you run that extra yard, give that extra pass if you need to, and really deliver quality when you need to. And sometimes if you don't get a result, the culture keeps you up there, and the squad togetherness will help you ride it through if you do go through a bit of bad form. And like you were saying there, I think United have a lot of rooted problems, a lot of egos, and they're probably like 3 or 4 years away from probably challenging a game. But I don't care. Like we've went to Manchester United. We went to Manchester United at Old Trafford against a team who are full of internationals, and we've actually turned them over. So it's just insane to actually say that on the podcast as well. But I'm just so happy about it. And let's break down Boro's equaliser, Dana, because I know that Duncan Watmore's handball it's probably the reason why people bring so much attention to it, because it could have could have been given as a foul. But this is actually a really good goal from Boro, isn't it? It's really good play.
Yeah, the build-up is excellent, actually, because it starts with Rashford cutting inside, and he has a shot and it's blocked by McNair. But when he cuts inside, Diogo Dalot moves forward a bit so that it leaves space on their right-hand side, our left-hand side. And then Varane gets pushed into where Spurs is. It's a bit of a domino effect, really, for Man United. So as McNair gives the ball to Taylor, he puts it through to Spurs. Spurs does really well, actually, up against three Man United players, pressing him to basically just kind of shield them off for a second. Under pressure, he supplies some crossfield ball to Isaiah Jones. That ball is brilliant, but also Jones's ball over to Watmore is so satisfying to watch. The way that it's just perfectly weighted and floated towards Duncan Watmore. And yeah, of course, I mean, he handles it with his hand. Who gives a shit? I honestly could not care. I mean, I didn't celebrate it because I knew VAR was in use, and I said to my dad, I turned around and went, yeah, this is going to be disallowed. So I didn't celebrate it, and I think a lot of other people were in the same boat as well. But it's just perfect. It's honestly, the build-up play is really good. Yeah, we get a bit fortuitous because I know the rule is the rule, but it is a bit daft, the rule. I'm not going to complain about it, but it is daft. But yeah, Crooksy coming in. I mean, what a story from Crooksy, by the way, because being released by Man United as a 14-year-old, Duncan Watmore as well as a 12-year-old, for them two to link up, it was just perfect scripting, really. I think Man United got served their karma there, but it was just rewards, really, for the fact that Boro had stuck it out, and then we grew into the game with confidence. We got that goal, and then, yeah, it was unbelievable, really. When Anthony Taylor confirmed the goal, that was when I celebrated, and the guy behind me nearly took my dad out. I just turned around, all I saw was someone's legs. Didn't see the rest of their body. It was just someone just flew down the row. So yeah, it was brilliant. Moments like that are priceless.
I feel like we should get Dave on the podcast because it'd just be so funny. You imagine just Dana and Dave sat next to each other with a mic. It'd just be great.
I had to ask him if he was okay because he honestly the guy I hope the guy was okay, but he just flew down the road, nearly wiped my dad clean out.
Tom, did you celebrate or were you just?
I didn't. I was the same because the handball was like in direct eye line with me. So I was just like, because it's VAR, I can see it being ruled out. I was stood next to my godfather at the time, and we were both just like, is he going to give it? He's going to give it. And then eventually he gave it, and it was just like disbelief. Like everyone around us was like, does he give it? And then we all just started, jumping around, going mental after that. But like, I think as much as I like support VAR, like stuff like that, it's horrible because it kind of does take you out in the moment. I'd love to just being able to celebrate that straight away without having in the back of my mind it's going to be ruled out. But I don't know if the weight maybe made it a little bit better in the end, just having to confirm that it was a goal.
The hand of Watmore helping Boro equalising. The hand of Dunk. But let's chat about Dunk and Watmore then, because we've had quite a lot of questions about him. We've spoke about him in the last few podcasts as well. Jez and Elfie said, how good was he yesterday? And Tom, it was definitely a sub that changed the game, wasn't it?
Super sub, yeah. Had a great impact on the second half, and you know what? I think he came on with a point to prove after losing his place in the team when Connolly and Balogun have come in. That's not to say that Balogun did badly or anything in the first half, because I thought he was okay. He just didn't have too much chance to do anything. I didn't think anyone did, but Watmore came on and he instantly was all over the place. Sprinting, chasing down balls, pressing. And then to obviously play the part in the goal as well. I think he's definitely playing with an eye on getting back into that starting 11 and getting that space back with Sprar up top.
Yeah, Dana, what's your thoughts on him then? Because Tom was saying there around getting his point, having a point to prove. Do you agree with that? But then also, what impact do you think he has on this side?
Yeah, he definitely had a point to prove. I mean, in two ways, really, because obviously the fact that he was released by Man United, maybe subconsciously there was a little part of him that kind of wanted to maybe show them like, you shouldn't have done that. But then obviously, yeah, coming back into the team after being dropped, he is probably the most important, or one of the most important parts of this side, I think. He might not be the best player of this team, but he's certainly one of the most valuable, because you saw it as soon as he came on. He makes such good runs in terms of pressing that he just harasses defenders and it causes them problems. It makes them uncomfortable. And I agree with what Tom said. I don't think Balogun was bad. I actually thought that in the touches that he did have, he looked like he wanted to get it going. It just, nothing was sticking for either Balogun or Sparrow, really. And then when Watmore came on, he made things happen, and he was so pivotal to that. The turnaround, really, the equaliser, and also the turnaround in terms of Boro trying to get a leg up in the game. He was brilliant when he came on, and yeah, the great old hand of Dunk, brilliant. And yeah, Man United fans are annoyed about it, but try telling that to those Boro fans, the almost 10,000, that shouldn't have been allowed. I'm not having it.
And to be fair, they shouldn't have really got through in the last round against Aston Villa, because their goal was controversial and got away with it through VAR. So, I mean, swings and roundabouts in it, swings and roundabouts. But in terms of Duncan Watmore, would you just both like to see him in the starting 11 for the next game? Tom, do you want to answer that first?
I think there's a case that he deserves it. Like we just said, it wasn't that Balogun was bad or anything. He like Dan said, he was trying to get things going. Nothing was really sticking, so I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of kept that place. But also the impact that Watmore had, like he's got to be in consideration for starting spot next game.
Dana?
Yeah, I think what's often forgot about Watmore is that he has had such a brutal injury history. I mean, what is it? Has he had 2 ACLs or an ACL? I mean, even one ACL is bad. He's been absolutely ravaged by injuries, so he has to look after his body, essentially. And Dom mentioned it on the transfer pod that Watmore said that this was probably the first time that he's had a pre-season in a while. So we have to manage him well. And I think maybe that could have been why he was taken out of the team. But for me, I would still start Balogun, because I think it might be a little bit harsh to bring him into the team and then drop him again. It would be nice to see Balogun in a league game. But yeah, there's definitely a case for Watmore playing. Maybe you play Watmore with Balogun. We never know. That could be a case. I certainly don't think Sparrow is undroppable, but he did play a really big part in that equaliser by getting Boro out, really, of that. I mean, he was pretty much trapped, and he did really well to get that ball off to Jones. So there could be a case for Balogun and Watmore, but he's definitely in contention. I think he has to be after that performance.
It's nice to have options, Dawn, and happy anniversary for that saying. It's an interesting one, because Balogun, I think quality wise, he is a fantastic footballer, and you can really see the quality that he has. But I just didn't feel like it was his game. I think when Watmore did come on, it was kind of his game, because we needed to stop the centre backs of Manchester United getting on the ball and trying to dictate the player. Really, and I think we really did that when Duncan came on. So it'd be interesting to see what we do. There is obviously the scope to maybe play Balogun and Watmore, but then again, Sparrow's being in good form this season as well. So it's just nice to have that competition for places, because it'll only bring the best out of the players that want to come into the squad. But let's chat about the penalties then, because oh god, it's just chaos, absolute chaos. Middlesbrough had excellent penalties. All 8 of them were superb. But who gets a pick of the bunch, and how are you feeling throughout the penalty shootout? Go on, Tom, go first.
Yeah, I mean, for the penalty shootout, my heart rate actually peaked at 130 beats per minute. I was checking me Fitbit like during it, going, how stressed am I here? Like, I mean, I did kind of have the feeling that, whatever happens, it's penalties, and we've done well to kind of get it this far, but also really wanted to see us beat them there. But the thing is, every time one of our players went up, I was confident that we were going to score it. And I wasn't feeling that same way about United. I was confident that like Ronaldo would probably score his after missing a penalty earlier in the match. I thought Fernandes would. But then there were other players coming up. Like I thought McTominay was going to miss. I thought Mata was going to miss. And I don't know. There was a feeling I had during that penalty shootout where I just thought, we're going to do it here. because I can't see any of our players missing. And there's too many kind of good penalties just to kind of pick one, really. Having watched them all again. Oh, on another note, my mate had said last week, if this goes to penalties, Henderson's going to be absolutely key for it, and I thought he was rubbish in the penalty shootout. But yeah, I mean, Peltier's penalty, looking back on it, I'm like, it still makes me nervous, even though I know he scored, just because of it going into the roof of the net like it did. But like Fry, Bamba, and Tav's penalties, all quality as well. I think everyone's was, but yeah, some definitely quality penalties in that bunch.
Yeah, they really were. Dana, talk me through it. How were you feeling, and who gets your pick of the bunch?
At one point, I thought that we were having a rerun of the Liverpool-Middlesbrough penalty shootout where it was just going to keep going, and it would never end. And there were really good penalties, in fairness, from Boro. Apparently, we didn't actually practice them more than usual. It was just kind of standard penalty practice, really, Chris Wilder said after the game. So the fact that was, obviously our kind of pre-match build-up and prep for it, and we pulled out those penalties was just brilliant. I think I agree with Tom. Bamba, when Bamba stepped up, honestly, fingers laced together on my head, turned around to my dad and I went, oh. I was like,
you were doing the warning.
I was doing the warning, yeah. Yeah, doing the warning. And I was nervous because there's something about centre half stepping up to take penalties that just makes me really nervous. And I mean, to be fair, it was almost like he nonchalantly just drilled it into the corner. And to be fair, when Tav stepped up as well, I crapped myself because I was like, oh no. But his penalty was brilliant. Love it when it goes at the top corner. And yeah, Peltier as well. He was loving it, wasn't he? After he scored, obviously being a Liverpudlian, Toxteth born. I think that was pretty sweet for him. But yeah, I was shitting myself. But then I suppose with every penalty that we took, I was getting a little bit more confident and I trusted them a lot more. And I mean, unbelievable, just unbelievable for that to happen again. I mean, twice in a row from cup games at Old Trafford. Yeah, it's just unbelievable, really.
Yeah, it really was. Like the penalties for me though, I think that I was both similarly. I was bagging nerves, didn't want to speak to anyone. I was like, I just need to watch this and just in belief that we'll probably do it. But when I was seeing the likes of Peltier and Bamba come, I was like, what are you two doing? Like, we total age of like 70 something between you. Like, what are you doing? But to be fair, two cracking penalties. Del Fries was superb. Tabs was really, really good. Piero got lucky, but it still got in.
I thought that had been missed. I thought, because obviously it went under Dean Henderson. Really bad moment for him, to be honest, for Henderson, but I mean, who cares? I thought that was missed, to be honest. It was always going to be one of those penalty shootouts where someone was going to miss.
Yeah,
or someone had to miss, like, rather than saved.
Or come close to missing. And yeah, it was just like sheer disbelief. I can't believe that we actually won, but it's just the jubilation of it all. It was fantastic. It really was. It's good to see like the players will have the absolute bottle and the confidence to just display and get a penalty away like that. Really, really good. It shows us the character that this squad has. And let's move on to like your standout players and moving into the praise and place this week, because the whole squad could probably get the praise and place. But before we get your picks, I just want to find out who was your standout performer at Manchester United on Friday night, Dana.
Anthony Elanga.
Anthony Elanga is your standout performer.
I'm enjoying it too much. No. Dale Fry, I think, was immense in that. Well, pretty much the whole game, but particularly from the second half onwards. I mean, he was getting his head on everything. He was clearing everything. He was reading the game really well. He pretty much pocketed Ronaldo. He was obviously relishing the opportunity to come up against him. And he did so well. He did really, really, really well against him. He was marshalling that back line excellently. And he just was a man mountain, really. He was a complete brick wall. And I think Fry was fantastic. But the midfield, I mean, mentioned to Tav as well. Tav made a really, really good interception and a really vital interception at the end, which I think has gone maybe a little bit unnoticed. So Tav, Fry, you know what, the whole team, even Lumley was Lumley had an interesting game,
He
but
gave me like so many heart attacks in that game. Honestly, God,
yeah,
I felt like I had to get like a cardiac machine next to me just in case I need to like buzz my heart a couple of times. Honestly,
he had such a weird game though, because he did make some good like sweeper again. Being sweeper, he did well to kind of blast the ball well away from danger when he was rushing out from his line, and then he made some good saves. But then he dropped some clangers as well. I just feel like that is Lumley, isn't it? I just feel like he's kind of in meme territory. But yeah, I mean, the whole team. But I think Fry in particular, Fry and oh my God, Howson. Forgot about Howson. Howson was unbelievable in the middle of the pitch. He was so good. So yeah, the whole team, but Fry and Howson and Tav for me.
and I feel like Anthony Dijksteel could have played with a cigar in his mouth because of how composed he is. Like he is literally, he's so safe on the ball. Like
I actually disagree with that from that game.
Really?
Yeah, I think sometimes in possession of the ball against Man United, there were a few times where he did lose it. It maybe got a little bit kind of stuck, but I mean, it's rare. It's rare for Dijksteel to be like that. I did die a little bit when he gave away that penalty, but who cares?
Yeah.
It got
he slipped. It's one of those things, you know.
Yeah.
He slips and he gave the penalty away, but I still hold the opinion, and he could play with a cigar in his mouth because he,
I do agree with that. Yeah.
Just so chilled, like a house. But Tom, talk me through it.
I mean, very similar to what Dana said, and that the whole team deserves it this week. But mine was between Fry and Howson. You know, I said I'd text you in the second half with the one bit of signal that I got saying I can't decide if it's Fry or Howson who's man of the match for me here. Fry, the lads around me, every time he made an interception or got his head on something, they were like, "Oh, he's going to have a hell of a headache tomorrow. He's headed everything. I was like, that's the one standout phrase I remember from that match is
you should have known mine was your da sells Avon and your nan cheats at bingo. No word of a lie. That's all I remember someone around me saying.
Oh God.
That's brilliant, that one. That's superb. But praise and place, this could be anyone. So this could be the squad, an opposition player, a fan member. So a fan could get the praise and place for maybe saying your dad sells Avon. If you want to go down that route. Who's in your praise and place this week? Who do you want to go for, D?
I don't know. To be honest, I just say the whole team again.
Okay, team gets it.
The whole team, the whole team, but not just the players. I think the staff as well, because obviously fitness was a big part of that game. I think the players were goosed by about 70 minutes, to be honest, because the work that they were putting in, and the fitness team played a part in that. Frankie Hunter and Matt Prestridge, Alan Nill, Chris Wilder. Everyone behind the scenes, the whole football club is in the bloody praising place after that.
Okay, Tom, you gonna go for anyone?
Absolutely the same, and I'll also add in the fan who kept jumping down the stairs and doing Ronaldo's celebration every time he missed.
Shithouse Island. The Boro fans have got to get on Shithouse Island for that. They did it every time he did something bad, which, to be fair,
it was brilliant.
Well, I'll come to Shithouse Island very soon. So just don't you worry. I've got a couple of things to get through first before we go to that. But praise and place, I'm gonna go Johnny Howson. Super performance, top class. Under the previous manager, he looked finished, and then under Chris Wilder, he looks fantastic, and it's just brilliant to see him. And a really good captain's performance, and lovely shithousery by celebrating at the Stretford end as well. But we'll come to that in a second. But let's look ahead to Wednesday now, where Boro face promotion rivals QPR at the King and Prince Foundation Stadium. To get some insight on the high-flying R's, we spoke to OJ from Up the QPR podcast to get a little bit of insight on Wednesday's game.
It's been a fantastic season for QPR so far. It's crazy to think that we are where we are, considering this time last year we were looking like getting relegated at one point. I think transfer-wise, we've done some incredible business. We brought in the likes of Stefan Johansson, Sam Field, Charlie Austin, all these players that made the difference in January last year, that took us from a relegation threatened side to a side that could really almost snuck into playoffs, really. And to see us actually go in and invest in that kind of money to get in the players that made a difference last season is excellent. A few new additions as well. Jimmy Dunn, who's been arguably our best player, bar Willock, this season. I think he's really solidified the defence, and it's massively exciting to see us have this team that has got quality over the pitch. I think January we could have done more. We brought in David Marshall, who, in all fairness, has been fantastic. Got a young lad from Wolves, Dion Sanderson, who we haven't seen much of yet, but he's an exciting young player. Birmingham fans massively rated him, so yeah, it's been a fantastic season so far. But I feel maybe we could have brought a striker in, because our strikers aren't particularly in form. We had Lyndon Dykes score 2 last week, but that was his first goal in 10 games. So yeah, I think January was a bit of a poor one for us. You see the likes of Boro making good signings, Bournemouth making every sign that they ever have. So yeah, I think undoubtedly the best transfer window we had in a very long time in the summer, but potentially one of the worst we've had this January. But at the end of the day, we kept our players. We kept Willock, Chair, Dieng, Dickey, Dunn, all these players that we were concerned that might leave. But no, we're very happy with how it's gone. Current form, I mean, you can't really complain. Obviously, we were unlucky to lose to Peterborough yesterday in the cup, but irrelevant when you're going for promotion. But yeah, unbeaten in 2022, which is fantastic. You compare it to last season, it's almost a miracle. Massive win against Reading last week, which really gave us a big boost of confidence and morale, and that's exactly what we needed. Got a point out of Swansea, which, Swansea are a good team. Obviously beat Blackburn, so we've done well to get a point out of them. Beat Coventry as well, beat West Brom. We're starting to pick up results against teams that, previous season we would have struggled against. So very, very happy with that. And I think as long as that continues, we've got a really, really good chance of getting into the top 2. It's a big talking point whether anyone can catch up with Bournemouth and Fulham. Despite the fact that Bournemouth are in third, they are still the favourites to finish second because of that window they've had. But yeah, no, very happy with the current form. We've really excelled ourselves this season, and we might not be playing incredibly well, but we are doing massively, massively better than we get credit for, because we know now to grind out wins, and grinding out wins is a skill. A lot of people call it luck. It's a skill, knowing to grind out a win. There's been situations where we've had about 40% possession max, no shots, and we sneak it 1-0, and that's a massively bit of a Wolverhampton style. We have situations where we do get dominated, and then late on we go ahead and get the win. So I don't mind how we do it as long as we keep winning. And, the key players this season, Chris Willock has to be the main one there. I think, for the fact that we got him for 750k is arguably the best bit of business in the Championship this season, in the past few seasons as well. He's got a lot of value now. To see where he was, not struggling to get into Benfica team, bought him for 750k. It's been amazing, and to see where he is now and the amount of goals he's scored and assists, it's impeccable. I think you've got to look at him and see him as arguably the best winger in the Championship at the moment. And there's going to be a lot of people that question that, but he's next level, isn't he? He just doesn't seem to do anything wrong. 6 goals, 9 assists this season. It's almost at the Eze level, and I think it would be rude to say that he hasn't overtook Eze at the moment, because he has been unbelievable. And then, yeah, Dickey, Dunn, Barbe, all players that have been insane for us. So, yeah, key players to look out for, definitely Chris Willock and Ilias Chair. And defensively, Jimmy Dunn, Rob Dickey, David Marshall in goal, Adoma. There's so much, and it's the first time we've been able to say it for a while. On to Boro prediction. I think it's going to be a very tough game. Both sides are on incredible form. Boro unbeaten since November in the Championship. Was it just lost 1 since November? Sorry, that was against Blackburn. For me, both sides have got the momentum on the side. Obviously, you guys beat United. We smashed Reading. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I think I'll be happy with 1-1 draw as well. So ultimately, as long as we get a point out of it, I'm happy, and I think most of our fans would be too.
that, OJ. So 1-1 draw, prediction from our QPR fan. But guys, how are we feeling about this week? Because in August they beat us 3-2 with 10 men as well. But Tom, how are you feeling about it? Do you think Middlesbrough could have a point to prove?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very different game to August as well. I think you look back at that one; it's one we arguably should have won, and we probably shot ourselves in the foot with. This one, they're on incredible form, and deserve to be where they are in the Championship, and we're obviously picking up form as well. I think the team should be feeling unbeatable after beating United on Friday. But it's just a question of how much did kind of extra time take out of everyone. I never like watching us play QPR. I don't know. There's just something about that stadium with it all being kind of like so enclosed and stuff. It seems. I don't know. It's just got a feeling around it that it's not going to go well. Even though I have seen us do well there on TV and stuff. So I think it's going to be really really tough game on Wednesday.
Yeah, the stadium's like playing five-a-side goals in it. It's like that's how it feels when you watch them. But Dana, how are you feeling about midweek, and what should we do to exploit QPR?
I haven't really thought about QPR, to be honest. I'm still processing the United game, but I mean, it's as Tom said, it's going to be a really difficult game. This is big for Boro because obviously a direct promotion rival. They're probably one of those teams that will have a keen interest in the top two, or certainly that second place, because I think Fulham have probably won the Championship now. I kind of agree with what Tom said there about extra time. Could that have taken a lot out of the players? We already know the energy that has been really left on that pitch from Chris Wilder's tenure so far, but I do trust that the team have it intact, really, and that they will kind of prevail even through even through extra time. But I'm really intrigued and excited about this game because I think it'll really show where Boro are to come up against a direct promotion rival, and if we triumph it would be brilliant. I do kind of agree with OJ that I would be happy with a draw.
So predictions then, what are you thinking? Draw, Dana? 0-0, 1-0, 5-5.
I think 1-1. Yeah, I can't see us conceding. Actually, 2-2 is not out of the question. You know what, I'm just going to say 2-2. We'll go Desmond.
2-2 Desmond. And Tom, what are you feeling?
I'm going to go 1-1 as well as OJ. I think, like I say, it's going to be a tough game. I can see us still being solid at the back, but so are they. And I think they're a good team. I like the way Mark Warburton kind of sets up his teams. I think it's just going to make it very tough on Wednesday.
Okay, I'm going to go with 1-0 win. I think we'll house our way to a victory, and I feel like it'll be a massive win as well. If we can beat QPR on their own patch, try and stop us from there. I think it's trying to stop us. I think it's a massive game for Boro, and we really need to try and get a result here if we want to try and get promoted this season, especially against a rival. But let's move to questions then, because you've both just alluded to this one, and it's from Charlie, and he says, how would you feel about how would you feel yesterday's game will affect Wednesday night against QPR? Do you think the players can stay focused and make sure they don't make the same mistakes they did at Ewood Park? Tom, what do you think?
I don't think they won't be focused. I think, like I said, they should be feeling unbeatable after Friday, and I think Wilder's good enough to kind of keep the feet on the ground with it, and keep them grounded. Hopefully, I mean, it wasn't a complete performance from us on Friday by any stretch of the imagination. It's I don't want to say we were lucky because we worked hard for what we got, but it's not a game that we're going to get in the Championship. No one in the Championship's at that level. So yeah, I think the only thing is Wilder's going to have to keep them grounded. But like I say, I think motivation should be high enough to think, right, we did the basics well on Friday. Let's carry on doing that.
Okay. Next question is from Josh, and it's for you, Dan. It says Piero was quietly very decent when he came on. He did have the most dribbles when he did come on. He did come on with 12 minutes to go from normal time. He said looked quite composed on the ball and going forward. Is it is off the ball which needs to be which he needs to work on more?
Yeah, probably. I mean, it was always going to be difficult for Piero coming on at the time that he did because Boro were even more so under the cosh than ever, really, trying to see out the remainder of the game. But I agree. I thought on the ball he was composed and there was some good touches. He received the ball and he took a really good touch that kept it obviously in his control. And then he tried to dribble. I think he kind of got a little bit closed out and shut out by two Man United players. But he did look good. He looked fearless as well, which I think is a big attribute of this Chris Wilder side. They just are so confident, really. And Piero was that. I mean, for him to come up and take, was it the second penalty? The second penalty, I think, shows his minerals, as Jonathan Woodgate would say. And yeah, probably off the ball work needs work, but that will come with time. I'm sure of it. I mean, he's aggressive. He's got the aggression in his game. You know, obviously being a South American, a lot of people might kind of tar him with the brush of being soft, but he definitely isn't. You saw he got stuck in on the near side to where the Boro fans were. He tried to kind of Man United players were grappling him, and he was grappling them back. So he's got aggression in his game. It's just about maybe the cleverness of when he needs to go, when he needs to stay, that sort of technicalities of the tactics.
Yeah, which you can work on probably over like the next coming months and so. But it's definitely clear that he is a quality footballer. Next question is from Ten. He says, "Is it time to get excited?" I think probably after like the last 50 minutes, yeah, it is definitely time to get excited. 100%.
We got excited ages ago.
Yeah, we got excited. Yeah, as soon as Wild came in, we were like, "Thank God, Warnock's gone." But the last question. It's an interesting one, Dana, isn't it? It's a very interesting question, this one, because Olivia says, can we make a chant solely for Matt Crooks? Thinks he deserves something more than just Matty Crooks. Is there something in mind?
I don't know, Johnny, is there?
Could be. I don't know. Is there a chant in mind at all?
His name is Matt Crooks, and they just can't handle him. His name is Matt Crooks. He's 6'3" and they call him a tree. He ain't ready. Crazy little thing called Crooks.
Anyway, Shithouse Island. Now we had a lot of we had a lot of nominations this week. The return of Shithouse Island is become quite a nice thing for us on this podcast because we get a lot of nominations. We have 3 to discuss this week. So, Johnny Howson, Lee Peltier, and the Boro fans. Johnny Howson celebrating at the Stretford end after his penalty. Tom, does that guarantee Johnny Howson a place on the island?
I think so, yeah. Just celebrating in front of one of like the most famous stands in English football like that after putting your penalty away, yeah, definitely.
Lovely Sean Dyche impression there as well.
Stop, because I was laughing at that too.
Oh, that's that night out in Redcar coming back on.
You've been sharing cigars with Anthony Dykesdale, is that what it is?
Just eating gravel, mate.
Eating gravel. The next one is for Lee Peltier. While it was from Tom Muldowney that sent this in, he says, while he's not on Boro Breakdown Island material just yet, Lee Peltier shithoused his way through extra time like an expert. Does he get, since it might not be shithousery to the fullest extent, do you think, Dan, he deserves a 1 week holiday on Shithouse Island?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially for kneeing Bruno Fernandes in the back. I think for that alone, I think it was a shithouse move. I mean, I don't know whether he meant it. I'm assuming he didn't, but you never know. But yeah, 1 week, a 1 week trial. We might give him an appreciation tweet for that kneeing in the back moment. It's got potential, though, as Lee Peltier.
And then finally, the fans. So Cristiano Ronaldo missed his penalty. A lot of chanting. A lot of it's scary, is it? But a lot of his trademark celebration was being shouted by the Boro fans. Do they deserve a place on the island. Both up for discussion in this one. What do you think?
Yeah,
Without a shadow of a
definitely.
doubt. Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. We're gonna have
So,
to add it to the graphic, Matt. I don't know how we're gonna quite do that.
So
Just
then,
I'm in the background the stands.
well, let's have a look at the island then, because we are current. This is the current image. We've got Willow Flow with a pint there. We've got some Boro fans with the badge. You know, we will see Johnny Howson's appeared in there, and then also you've got Lee Peltier on just a week's trial. So hope he brings some sunscreen for that. But that island's starting to fill up quite nicely, isn't it? Now we're gonna have to, at the end of the season, we're gonna be voting one of them off week by week and see how it goes. But I tell you what, we're gonna have to find like the king or queen of Shithousery at one point, because it's getting quite full, that island. But guys, thank you very much for joining me. Thank you very much for joining me as always, and thank you very much for the listener as well for joining us. It's been a very nice podcast to record this one with Boro winning at Manchester United, and Dana's got a lovely hat on there. That's like something you see at Wembley wear. That one.
I can't even get it
Lovely.
on my head.
Get on your head.
Floating on the top of it.
That's brilliant. Well, anyway, that's it. Boro avoid a banana skin and beat Manchester Minnows at Old Trafford at the Theatre of Dreams. Theatre of Dreams? All right, mate. This is the Boro Breakdown podcast, and that was like Boro Match Day Chatter in a pod.